Well, ladies and gentlemen, we hope that we are actually broadcasting live on Facebook, but it doesn't look like I am. It looks like something is wrong. I'm just testing again, reloading. Oh, look at me. I bet you what I did was I wasn't looking far enough down. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I believe that we are live, and I am sorry that I am it was a little bit clumsy. Hello, Christine. Thank you for letting me know. It is working on this end. We are here. You are there. We are all together now. It is Wednesday at 12:04 p.m. Pacific time because, I don't know, I pushed the button and I thought I wasn't broadcasting, but I think now that I was. That's goofy. That's goofy, Bob. Come on, get a staff. I can't just keep going on like this. Well, I can, and I will if I have to. Anything to fulfill my obligations to you, the loyal viewer here of the Bob Doyle Show. Not the Bob Doyle Show, the Bob Doyle Law of Attraction. I get them all confused. All right, I have, as I always do, Lisa Ambrosiak is here, as well as Marion, and we have, oh, I saw someone named Robert was in there, but see, it's already scrolled off. So much trying to get on using your iPad. No go. What? Well, it should have worked. Although it may not have been your fault. It may have been my fault. Could have been my fault. Hi, I'm Bob Doyle. I was one of the featured teachers in the film and the book The Secret. I know a little something about the law of attraction. And so I broadcast here each Wednesday at noon Pacific in front of beautiful Lake LOA. LOA stands for Law of Attraction, for those of you who don't know. Heather, glad to have you here. And Jane. Well, I hope I'm not frozen. It says my CPU usage is off the chart. So I could have some problems here. You know, I should never, one of the things I've been doing is, wait a minute. Why is the video showing again? What is going on? Oh, I'm so looking at the wrong thing. Well, it's a good thing you don't pay for this, right? Why is my CPU at 100%? I'm gonna have to. I have to do something about that. That's craziness. Well, I think what's happened is I waited till the last second. I had everything ready this morning, and then I went in and talked to Lynn, and I lost track of time, and we'll just blame her. Yeah. All right. So look, I posted some tweets that I'm drinking coffee as always. I'm drinking out of my I Am Unstoppable mug this time. I'm not in sync. Well, that figures. That we'd have still another technical problem. Is everybody else having a synchronization problem? Is my voice not with my lips? Because I know that's going to be irritating. Yeah, Emily, it is. It is serene. Except for the fact that everything's breaking all around you. How did I attract that, you may be asking? Don't know. I'll look into that later. Right now, I have a duty, and I have a couple of questions for you, which I have to write down because now they've been thrown out of my mind. I've got a couple of questions. I'm not going to tell you what they are. God dang it, I wish I could remember the other one, which was the basis of the whole thing. Oh well. I'm glad Jane is giggling madly, because as we say, giggling is what it's all about. So look, I put as I always do, I put my little notification and tweet links in the first comment box of this thread. And if you click the one that says tweet LOA, that ends with tweet LOA, your message will be tweeted out to the world and you will be seen like this. That's right. Anything nice you have to say, like, wow, if you really like to watch somebody stumble over technology for about 5 or 10 minutes, you got to check out this broadcast. And we might eventually get, is it like watching old movies dubbed to English? Is that true, Jane? Is it everybody? I have a problem with that. I gotta tell you, I'm too much of a stickler. But if you guys are all right, with me being out of sync, then I will. I'll just continue. Oh. All right, well, welcome. We do this every Wednesday, and sometimes it works. But here we are again, giving it the old college try. It looks better now. Maybe it just will catch up. Maybe I did change my CPU thing, and so maybe it'll just fix itself. Let's go with that. And hopefully you guys can hear Lake LOA in the background, just ever so gently lapping across the shore, bringing you a sense of peace and serenity and total presence. to the conversation we're going to have today. Now, what we do here every week is I generally bring a topic to the table of some kind that is law of attraction related. And wow, it's driving me nuts that I can't remember the one that I just thought of. That I thought, well, this is probably the best topic ever. But there was something else I was going to ask you to contemplate, which is what I normally do. I normally give you food for thought. Oh, and we have to check in. The other thing is the technique. Remember last week we came up with a new manifesting technique, a new visualization technique. Does everybody remember that? And if you remember it, how many people did it? That's what I want to know. How many people in this room who were here last week, and I know some of you apply, this applies to some of you, the technique, do you remember what it was? Because I'd love to hear a report. I'm going to tell on myself. You did it, but then forgot to continue to do it. Yes, Marion. Lorraine did it. Well, I'd like to hear. How did that go? How persistent were you? Because look, I got to admit, I did exactly what I said everybody would do. And that is because there's so many opportunities to do it, which is basically all day, that you almost just forget and go, well, I'll do it in a minute or I'll do it in 5 minutes. And then you just forget. And I didn't do it. I did it for a couple of days here and there. And then I'd remember it and go, okay, but it's such a great idea, don't you think? So let's go over it one more time for the benefit of those who are new. And of course, all of you don't hang your head in shame, Jane, because I would be doing the same and there's no reason to feel shame. It's just being human. We knew there was a possibility that we weren't going to be doing it. We're asking for a radical change in behavior, a new habit to form. So I just wanted to come in and we're going to support each other in trying this. Yeah, Natty, I'm sorry you don't have an electricity. Create a sign and stick it around the house. Yes, visualize what you're about to do. Visualize what you're about to do. That's the essence of the technique, which I'll go over again right now. So what we're trying to do as manifestors is to be able to create a vision in our mind, experience it like it's happening now on all sensory levels. We feel it, we smell it, we taste it, all of that stuff, all that basic law of attraction stuff. And then the idea is as we get into that vibration, as we create that vibration because of the emotional response that we create by bringing this vision into the forefront of our sensory experience. See how I came up with those words and put them all next to each other, almost like it was a planned sentence? It wasn't. That was me flying by the seat of my verbal pants. So the idea is that's what we're doing. So when we use the law of attraction, we're visualizing and we're waiting for the universe to deliver. So what I'm saying, and so what we're also doing in that, ideally what we'd love to be able to do is wire our brains to know that whenever we visualize something, it comes to fruition every single time, right? Well, that's a tough act because, is it an act? I don't think that was the words I should have used, but easier said than done. How about that? Sometimes because, we're generally visualizing our big picture vision, our big goals, the things that are bigger than us, the things that are really, bringing up all of our resistance. Otherwise, we'd have them already, right? If we didn't have resistance to these things, if we didn't have some, I remember. Yes, this is a good one. All right, now I get to it eventually. But if we have the resistance to those areas, then if we don't have our vision right now, it's because we have areas of resistance. So just visualizing, we have to work through our areas of resistance. That's what the quote unquote work of the law of attraction is about. So Lorraine says I use it every day and it actually worked very well and certainly helped my energy shift. So much more positivity. So let's go into it. So what I'm inviting you and me and everyone I know to do is to try this visualization exercise, to train and literally wire your brain to quote unquote know that when you visualize something, it happens. And it's so easy. It's so drop dead simple. And that's why we're putting it off and all of that. Oh, wait a minute. If you guys are tweeting, I haven't, like Marion. Marion always tweets. If I had a prize for the most frequent tweeter on this broadcast, it would be Marion by far. By far. She's very good at, and she said, Bob Doyle from The Secret is taking your LOA questions live. That may be what I've already got pre-populated in there. But if you tweet, whether it's through the link in the comment section above, or if you just tweet any tweet and put hashtag Bob Doyle LOA in it, it shows up here. How awesome is that? It's really awesome, just so you know. Okay, so the idea with this technique is to visualize things that you know you're going to do, that you know are going to happen before you do them. Let's take making coffee, for example. What I could have done before I made this coffee was, as I was standing there before the coffee maker, I closed my eyes and I visualized making the coffee. I visualized the feeling of pulling the drawer out, pulling out the little Keurig cup, opening the thing, putting it in there, the little crunch sound when you lower the lid, the whole thing, the smell of the coffee grinds and all of that. Have the whole sensory experience, just like I was visualizing some huge goal. Okay, so have that experience completely in your mind, open your eyes, and then do it exactly how you visualized it, or close proximity thereof. So what is that doing when we do that? We're telling our brains we're visualizing, and then this thing happens. We're visualizing, and then this thing happens. This is not going to happen overnight, ladies and gentlemen. Look at that. Kathleen Robertson manifested a cup of coffee right there on the comments section. That is amazing, Kathleen. I think you should tweet everybody. Say, I manifested coffee watching hashtag Bob Doyle LOA at, and then point right here, which is facebook.com/Bob Doyle LOA. We're rocking and rolling now. So that's the idea. So you do that with, I mean, you could do it with every single moment of your day if you had nothing to do and you wanted your day to last forever. But just when it occurs to you, you're about to open the door to go out in the hall to go somewhere. Stop for a second. Close your eyes. Do your visualization. Imagine the whole thing. What the difference the air is going to feel like on the other side of the door. What the handle feels like in your hand. Every aspect of it. Just like we ask you to do when we're visualizing the big goal, the house, the money, the whatever, the dream life. But do it for something you absolutely know. So there's no doubt your ego's not going to scream, oh, you can't open that door. Who are you to open that door? None of that stuff's going to occur. So you start wiring your brain, which, by the way, is hard connected to the rest of the universe. It is a very important part of our manifestation process. You're teaching your brain, I think this, I visualize this, this happens. I visualize this, this happens. So then, you do that for a while, and then you sneak in something that you're not about to do. But you don't just jump in and start that right away. Well, you should be visualizing your vision every day, but the point is, I think you see the point. Everybody see the point? I don't need to belabor this. So let's try it. You know what I think? I think the reason we're scared of our own power. That's right. That's why we haven't done it. If we quote unquote knew it would work, let's say we know it will work and we're not doing it, what does that mean? We're not ready for that vision. We're not ready to handle our own power. What would that imply if we actually became, as we were talking about last week, true wizards of manifesting? We were talking about wizard wands and everything last week. What a fun show that was. Let's just sit and think about it. In fact, you know what? Let me pull up the replay. Let's just watch last week's show. I'm kidding. We won't do that. Hey, look at that. Marion tweeted again. Now look, she's taken up everybody's slack. Anyway, are you guys sharing? It would be so nice if you'd share. Because truly, this number here should be 2,100 people in this room. But I appreciate each and every one of you being here, because it really is just a conversation with you. Although I do like the group mentality we've got in here. We're a little community, and I want to keep it that way right here. Okay, so that's that. I was just checking in on that. So now I've got a couple of, now you can ask your law of attraction related questions at any time during this broadcast, and if they're not, if I'm in the middle of something else, I'll just try and make a note of it and then get back to it. So ask your questions, whatever you want, because that's what I'm here for. But I'm also here to ask you a couple of questions that will spark something. And I've got 2 of them. And we'll discuss each one, shall we? That'd be fun. Now I'm wearing a shirt that you can't see. Nope, you're not going to be able to see it, period. I got too much signage in the way. I mean, I could, but it says passion. All right. So the idea is, this is such a simple question. I know I ask you this all the time in some way, shape, or form, but it's really the most important question, or one of them. Here's the question, and I want you to share in the comments. Okay? The question is, what are you passionate about, or what do you love doing, and how often do you do it? That's the question. It's a 2-parter. I love knitting. I do it twice a week. And you might also add, as a bonus answer, bonus part of the question for extra credit, are you doing it as much as you'd like, or are you not doing it anywhere near as much as you'd like? So, I love knitting. I do it 2 times a week. not nearly enough time. Got it? I love bike riding. I do it once a week. Exactly how much time I want to do it. Sharon loves animals, guinea pigs specifically. Do you spend enough time with animals? Oh, Marion tweeted again. And so did Jason. Is it Jason Myers? Is that who's that? It's hard to tell because I see Twitter names over here on the Twitter feed, and then I see your, your Facebook name in front of me. So sometimes I don't always line up. Not always so obvious. Jane is passionate about writing, and she tries to do it once a day at least. Is that enough for you? Is that good? Are you feeling good about doing that? Lisa quit her job and is drawing every day. That's awesome. So Lisa, what do you want to do with your drawing? Please tell us all. Lorraine, Reiki healing. She loves Reiki and a few times a week, but she wants to do it every day. Okay, there is a fourth part to this question in a minute, obviously. Jane's answering yes to a question that I no doubt asked, which is scrolled off, so I can't remember. Getting people deals on cruising. Karen, yes, love your job every single day. It's truly your passion. Let's hear it for Karen. She's living the dream. I know she has other stuff that maybe isn't dreamlike in her life, but at least she loves what she's doing for a living, and that is a great start. Wonderful start. Jennifer is passionate about helping people. So hold on, Kat. So I know you are, Jennifer. And how often do you do it? And do you do it enough to your liking? And Kathleen also loves drawing and painting once a week. And she's inspired by Lisa, which is good. Robert wants to be a singer. So Robert, do you want to be a singer, or are you a singer that isn't discovered yet? Or are you a singer that still just needs to hone your craft to get better? Because if you want to be a singer, guess what? You are one. Now you just need to kind of craft it. Emily, exploring, learning about the places I go, visiting the abnormal, and appreciating the strange, being creative, sharing your life. And do you do all that, Emily? You look like you have fun with life. And Lisa, designing my clothing, just returned from New York City and recently Europe. So awesome. So Lisa is a clothes designer, clearly loving that. So that's fantastic. So again, there's the part of this, the question, which is, are you doing it enough for your happiness? Do you feel really good about the amount of time? And some people it sounds like they're doing it great, which is awesome. And then some people are maybe not doing it so much. And for those people who want to do it more, then we ask the question, why aren't you doing it more? Okay, and now there's going to be all the answers that I can predict. I don't have enough time. I don't have enough money. It could be I'm not good enough. Probably a time thing. Probably because you're busy doing something else that you don't love so much that you don't have time to do the stuff you do love. Does that sound right? So Marion says she'll be doing what she loves, not enough, but will be doing it more frequently. Now, but will be doing it more frequently. What does that mean? What does that look like? Robert says he's a singer, but he wants it like a job. So he wants regular work. And so, Robert, then what action are you taking to make that occur? And yeah, Emily says you have the classic insecurities. You have the classic insecurities, or we're talking about the classic insecurities? Like my answer is like not enough money, the classic insecurities, which we have all been programmed with. Because what happens basically is it comes down to this, which leads into the second big question, which I couldn't remember before, and I'm so excited that I do remember. And this is one I really want to have some fun with and want you to think about. And it also applies to you. It's really interesting, you look at people out in the world, like you look at them on Facebook or wherever you see them, posting their life, and you think, wow, all they do is have fun and laugh and play all day long. Right? I want to be if I could be just like them. And then what you don't realize is, as soon as they're done posting, they go back to their real life, and they got the same struggles. Right? So we all have our really strong, wonderful, awesome, powerful things that are going on in our life, and then we have the things that maybe aren't so strong and powerful. And so looking at those things that are not so strong and powerful, there's conversations basically in our head that disempower us. It's the voices that say, you're not good enough, you don't have enough time, you don't have enough money, all of those things. So here's abandon fear. It doesn't care about you. That's awesome. Did you steal that from somewhere? That's a good one. Abandon fear. It doesn't care about you. Why are you giving fear so much attention? What is the care and feeding of fear? What has it ever done for you? Why do you give it this home? Why do you nurture it? Why do you let it grow? Why do you feed it? Why do you validate it? What has fear ever done for you? Is this basically what you were saying, Emily? Janine says, I'm just going with the flow right now. Moved to a new state from one I've lived in my entire life. I did that 3 years ago. Love just getting settled in and exploring my new environment. Well, that sounds fun. It definitely does sound fun. A change of pace, a change of environment is a great way to sort of wipe the slate clean. Old memories, old triggers, old limiting whatevers, maybe new environment, new people, all of those things. Really, really great. Never enough time, never enough time. So what is it that you're spending your time doing, and why is that what you're spending your time doing? All of this comes down to a voice in your head, thoughts in your head that you could be calling a voice. But here's the question for you, and I want you to think about this, and I want you to ponder it and then answer it to the best of your ability. So when you have these thoughts, recognize that they are a voice. They sound like your voice. It sounds like the voice of reason. You don't have enough money. You don't have enough time. I'm right. All of this, it's your ego basically is feeding you these thoughts, these ideas. But guess what? They came from somewhere. You didn't just conjure up limiting beliefs by yourself. You learn them. And so when you have a voice in your head that says, not enough money, not enough time, all of those things, even though you may say, but I'm looking at my situation and say, I don't have enough money, I don't have enough time. You have definitions of enough that you have learned, and they're limiting you. May I submit that you have more than enough time and more than enough money? What, Bob? You don't know my situation. I'm a mother of 1,000, and I have 7 jobs. Well, we need to reprioritize a little bit. But I'm looking out for my family. I know, but see, you need to take care of yourself to really be the best example and role model for your family. For those of you with children, and you know who you are, it's one of those things that I get asked all the time. How do we teach our kids this? We have to live it. That's the only way to do it. We can't just say, this is how it works, and then not do it. So if we're working 7 jobs, we're teaching them a great work ethic. We're teaching them, you do whatever you have to do for your family, whether you like it or not. And it seems noble. Okay, no one's working 7 jobs. I'm using a very inflated example. But the point is, our hearts are in the right place, and our ego's telling us that we're doing the quote-unquote right thing. But in terms of long-term serving these people, what are we showing them? So all I'm saying, when it really gets down to it, is there's a voice in your head that is telling you various things. One voice may be telling you you have not enough money. Another voice, it all sounds like you. It all sounds like your intellect. It all sounds like your thought process, your reasoning, all of that's coming from in here. What I'm inviting you to do is answer this question. Whose voice is it really? Now that's going to take some thought. Like, who taught you about the limitations of money? Who taught you that there's not enough, you can't do, if you don't, like this much time is enough time, and if you don't have that much time, then you can't even start on your dream. I only have 30 minutes a day, maybe. Then that's 30 minutes a day you can be taking towards your dream, doing something you absolutely love. But if you have a belief that 30 minutes isn't enough, so I'm not even going to try, who taught you that? Was it a parent? Was it a teacher? Was it a television show? Was it society in general? Emily says, currently putting together costumes with limited resources, and I believe once I achieve at least presenting a passion, doors will open up with money and inspiration. Well, obviously it would help if I had a little bit more context of what you do with costumes and all of those other things. But yes, I mean, you just, it sounds like you're, I don't know. I don't know. Well, let's just make it up. So let's just pretend that Emily creates costumes and she wants to sell them or something, right? Let's just pretend. And maybe she's got limited resources, so she can't really create the costumes that she has envisioned in her head, right? So maybe not Emily, but some other person might be stopped by that. Well, if I can't create what I want, then why do it? I'm not saying that's Emily. But there are people with that thought process. If I can't go all the way, I don't even want to start. right? And that's like waiting for things to be perfect. All of that. That's what your ego tells you you must do, and it isn't true. So all of those voices. Ryan asked, what is the best way to manifest consistently? Well, you have to be consistent. You have to be consistent with your thought processes, your emotional state, your sense of commitment, and your vision. We go all over the place. We'll have a strong vision. We'll feel really good about where we're going one day. One little thing will happen. One little trigger. Someone cuts us off in traffic. Someone says the wrong thing. Someone makes a look on their face, whatever it is. And we go down, we're triggered, and we go down another path. And we send a completely different message to the universe. It's us that's inconsistent. And it's about identifying what triggered me. Why did I get triggered by that? Whose voice did I hear that said, get angry at that? That person made that face at you. You need to be angry because of something that happened in your past or something you learned that has nothing to do with universal truth. I can tell you for sure, when you ask that question, whose voice is that? It's never going to be the universe, God, source, telling you what you can't do or be. So, you can rule that out immediately. So, I guarantee you that if somebody's telling you you can't, or you don't have enough, or whatever, and you feel like it's just true, you've just been programmed. And I'm not even saying that the person whose voice it is was trying to program you. They were doing the best they could, and you learned from them. However you learn from them. I have one more sip, and if I don't do it soon, it's going to be lukewarm, which is disgusting. I don't know how people do it. So whose voice is it? I want you to, you may not know right now. Hi, Jerry. But if you can identify, right, there's so much of what I do that involves transformation, powerful transformation, that involves getting things out of your head and onto a piece of paper where you can look at them. Writing is extremely valuable. There's a whole, every thought that you have as it lives up in here has a totally different vibe to it than when you put it on paper and take it out of here and can look at it more objectively. In here, your limitations seem real. Out here, maybe not so much. I go back to the whole process I went through at the beginning of the year to eliminate alcohol. And part of the process was looking at what are the downsides of quitting, or of eliminating alcohol. What are the downsides, right? And in my mind, the stories that I've been telling myself for years about that seemed true. Well, you won't be as comfortable as parties. It won't be as easy to connect with people. You won't feel blah blah blah, whatever. That seemed real to me. When I put it on paper, I thought these are reasons. This is reasons. Like this is worth, because the process involves a pro and con list, and the pros, I had like 36 great reasons in how my life would get better if I just eliminated alcohol. I had 5 little reasons that were these. But you won't have fun at parties. You'll miss the taste. It's going to be hard. None of that was true, as it turns out. And when I looked at it on paper, it was like, well, that seems kind of whiny and not at all congruent with how powerful this vision part, the benefits are. So I'm just saying, I know, it's still falling out. I still haven't replaced them. But life is so great without alcohol. Yes, it is. It is. It's been, today's June 22nd, and the last drink I had was January 1st. And I haven't missed it at all. So it's, but it was absolutely because I got those voices telling me why I couldn't out of my head on paper next to a list of all the ways that my life was going to get better when I did it. You can do the same process for your vision, whatever it is, and identifying what's stopping you from it. Get it out, do the process. I know I keep saying I'm going to do a webinar on that process. Cigarettes. Is that your thing? Are you a smoker who would like to quit? Oh, thank you very much. Thank you for the congratulations. I appreciate that. Yeah. Now it just seems like that's just who I am. And I think I probably, started doing the partying when I was around 17 years old. And it was a part of my life all the way up till I was 50. And then like that, no problem. no, and it's not because I'm so great. It's because it's a brain thing. It's a body. It's your whole body. My whole body got engaged in committing to this isn't worth what the quote unquote benefits of it are. In no way, and it's costing me all of this. I'll do the process one of these days. I'm gonna do a webinar and do it for free. I'm gonna put it up, and we'll do it live. That'll be fun. I can take your questions. I was actually looking at it yesterday, going, it's really time for me to do that. And the process is really about clicking into, any habit or behavior you'd like to change. But I'm also clear that alcohol is kind of its own thing, in some ways, in a lot of ways, where there's bad behavior that is stopping you, and then there's alcohol, which is a whole different world, because one sip can change your whole view of the world. Just one sip. If it has any impact on you, you're different. You are not 100% present. You are not 100% you. You do not have 100% of your power. And it has a special kind of hold on you because of the way that it makes you think, it makes you feel good. But then there's always the other side. So, and I'm sure there's lots of other things like alcohol that are like that in your life. And so not your life, one's life, in the life of a human being. Hi, Elizabeth Marsh. Nice to have you here. And who else is in here that I missed? It's hard to say because I can't see any more than 4 comments at a time. And then afterward, I can see them all, which is really weird and not nearly as fun and effective. Anyway, yeah, kind of like sugar. One bite and the physical addiction takes over. Marion, don't get me started on sugar. I will say this, I must say, to be 100% honest with you. My sugar thing really kicked in when I stopped drinking. Chocolate is a part of my everyday, and it never really was. It was a special thing every now and then. But I'll tell you what, a little chocolate every day, probably better than a little alcohol every day, I'm guessing. Chocolate makes you feel so happy, right? Now, if I was putting on pound after pound, I'd be concerned about that, but I'm not. I've lost 40 pounds. 40 pounds. I know, too much. Yeah, alcohol is sugar too. That's what one of my friends said about my click over into chocolate is, it's the sugar that my body is really craving, and so I'll go get it with chocolate. With a fraction of the calories, volume-wise. And anyway. All right. Where are we going off on the chocolate? Let's see. Okay, so that's what I'm really asking you to do, is to consider this, whose voice is it? And get it down on paper. It can change your whole life, guys, because whatever it is that you want in your life, whatever it is you want to attract with, whatever law of attraction technique, whatever program you're going through, whatever it is, the only thing stopping you are those little voices that create this idea that it's going to be hard or it's not possible or whatever. And those come from somewhere. And release techniques like EFT and Sedona method and all of those things help you deal with that resistance. And this is just another way, though, that helped me on a different level by getting it out of my head and onto a piece of paper and going and just being really, maybe this works better for people who are very logical thinkers and go, oh, well, this is my vision over here described in the column of this is the benefits of quitting. This describes my vision completely. This right here are these lame excuses that are not worth sacrificing this. So logically, it makes no sense to drink alcohol anymore. So as a logical person, I just chose not to. And I know that for some people, look, I know not all people can just quit alcohol like that. There's physical dependencies, there's all those different things. But I have to say that my belief, my true belief is that still your mind is extremely powerful. I never once had any sort of physical, issue. No withdrawal, no nothing. Because there wasn't one part of me in my being that wished I could still be doing it. That missed it. There wasn't any part of me that regretted walking away from it, any of it. And I really think that makes a difference. And the reason that I didn't have any of that regret or any of that was because I got really clear on what my vision was and why I had to do it and how that one thing was costing me. And your one thing could be something completely different, not just alcohol. It could be anything, whatever that thing is. You need to identify, oh, I've got to do this webinar because I walked through the whole process. But you need to identify what's missing in your life and what's stopping you from having that. That's kind of what this line of questioning is. Karen said, I had a teacher in school that would told me I would amount to nothing. And it truly stuck with me for years. You know, it's really amazing to think that that really happens. That there are teachers, you hear about it all the time. And you know when you hear about it on videos posted on Facebook showing these geniuses who changed the world, who were told things like that. Who did not let it get to them. Who did not let it stop them from going for whatever it is they wanted to go for. The Einsteins, the Edisons, the you name it. Right? People who didn't finish school, the people who said they couldn't, who were told they couldn't learn, that they would never amount to anything, who were too ugly for movies, and all of those other things, who went on to just knock it out of the park and say, in your face, person with insecurities who was projecting them on me. Because that's all it is. I promise you, Karen, the teacher who told you that has his or her own stuff. And there's something, and it must have been pretty powerful to tell a kid, to bring it up so strongly in some behavior or something that they saw in you, to bring it up so strongly, you'll never amount to anything. That was told to them. I absolutely promise you, that was told to them. You were hearing somebody's voice that they heard. And I want everybody to know that that's what's true about anybody who tells you you can't do anything. It has nothing to do with what's true. It has nothing to do with you. No matter how loving and caring and supporting and I just don't want you to get hurt, they are. They're speaking from their limitations, not yours. And they may say they are, and they may point to, well, you're up against this, so I understand that you can't do that. They're trying to make you feel okay about not following your dream, because they can't handle it. Isn't this fun? Just hanging out and going, yeah. Every week we get to do this. We get to peel back the layers and look at our lives and go, yeah, that's why I'm functioning this way. That's crazy. Lorraine says, bully behavior always follows these types of people who project it on others. Yeah. And Karen says, I'm sure it was. It hurt, but I finally had to rise above it 25 years later. And that's what happens. Because we are so ill-equipped to teach children how to process external stuff like that. All we know as kids is to believe it and make it true and carry it for 25 years until somebody somewhere makes us see, oh wait, we don't have to feel that way. We don't have to believe that. We don't have to be run by what Mr. Johnson said in 3rd grade. But we are never taught that because humanity just as a whole doesn't know, and the school system certainly doesn't. Can you imagine if the school system taught those types of skills? I mean, you got the kids in there for 8 hours. You may as well teach them something they can use. Sorry. You get me started on the school system, and I may not stop. We all have our things. I've had this for a long time. I've got such a thing against about the school system. And if you're a teacher or know a teacher, I'm not talking about that there's a problem with you. But if you are a teacher or know a teacher who doesn't like people to blast the school system, you're just going to have to understand that the reality is the school system is not set up for kids of today at all. Certainly not for the kids of tomorrow. And it will probably be until the generation of kids now grows up and can do something about it before it's going to change. Because our generation is too freaking clueless. Those kids spend too much time on their games and their computers, which are shaping their minds into these amazing thinking machines that we cannot conceive of, do not understand, and want them to stop. But the future of the world lies in the brains of these kids and this generation who is figuring stuff out at an exponential rate that we couldn't and won't. For the most part, the average of us will not. And we're discouraging it. We're making them wrong for it. We're crushing their passions just like our passions were crushed. We're just doing it in a different way. And we don't think we are. We think we're doing it for their own good, just like our parents did. Anyway, yeah, I got a few things to say on that. Sharon is a teacher and she blasts it every day. My mom was a teacher and blasted it too. So, yeah. But there are teachers and there are schools that are doing it right. No question. It's just, we just need 8 gazillion more. For the kids right now who are just struggling and being mislabeled and losing hope when they actually have 5 times the potential that we had to make a difference in the world because of how the world is and the reach that a single individual can have and the difference that a single individual can have. We can't fathom that, really. We didn't grow up in that. I think you know what I'm saying. You guys are intelligent. Lorraine says, I was bullied for years and have a 7-year-old son who's autistic. And now I run charity drives to raise acceptance for all children and help them with issues of bullying and special needs acceptance. Awesome. It has to happen. I mean, the world has to change. We have to change our, we just have, as a society, we have these agreements that rule us every day in our political structure, our government structure, our education system, all over the place, that are antiquated and not at all appropriate for today. And from a law of attraction point of view, which is what we do here, it is responsible for why we even have to have this conversation about making the law of attraction work for you, when it should be just happening automatically because that's how we were created. James says, problem is, who can afford to go to Princeton or Yale or Harvard? Seems like the world's leaders all come from those schools. Yeah, okay, well, I think that's going to change eventually, too. Truly, I think the Princeton, Yale, Harvard, Ivy League, whatever, that whole thing, one day, that's going to change. Because that's not, just not the, guys. A kid who's 16, 17 years old can give himself the equivalent of a college education part-time on the internet. No degree required. Can start their own business that makes a huge impact in the world. No freaking Ivy League money required. None of it. We live in a world where none of that, you don't... Yes, there are some things. There are some things that require a specific track of education so you can learn how to do things. And in that case, that's when universities and specialized things like that are perfect for a kid who is truly passionate about learning those things. I guess it really boils down to what's driving you down that path. Is it because you truly want to go down that path because you know that when you do, on the other side, you're going to live your life's mission, you're going to feel fulfilled, full of passion and joy, and make a huge difference in the world? Or is it because, well, that's what everybody expects me to do? The peasants will revolt again, says Elaine. James says, so long as there's Illuminati, it probably will not change. That's another whole conversation, and I know a lot of people scoff at that or look at it. I don't know. But I tend to agree that there is most definitely a different level of who's calling the shots. And that's why, quite frankly, I don't get caught up in politics and what's going on. I don't let it upset me because I don't feel like, hey, Natty just posted a picture. Awesome. Because, well, I'm not going to be political on this. That's crazy. I don't do that. My point is, let's mind our own business. Let's live the lives that we want. We've got the ability to do that. Let's just get clear on our vision. Let's let the universal principles work in our favor and not worry about the governmental principles so much right now. Learn what we can control and let go of what we can't. And because truly, if you're upset about stuff that you can't control or aren't really ready to step up and do something about, why? Why are you letting yourself get down that road? It's stopping you from doing what you really want to do in your life. It's creating a vibration that is, completely negative and doesn't serve you in any way, shape, or form. But you get to be angry and you get to be right and you get to look like you know stuff. But at what cost? Truly, what cost? Are you a person who walks around with an agenda with what's wrong with the country, what's wrong with the whatever. And that's really all you do, is you just complain about it. Whereas there's other people living in the exact same country who are happy as can be, living their lives, doing exactly what they want. Because all that crap that's going on doesn't affect them. Really, it doesn't impact their ability to follow their dreams or follow their passions. Except to the extent that they go, they let it. They get so angry at what's going on that they've lost touch with their joy, their passion, their sense of purpose, all that. They just want to be mad. Or sad. Or some other whatever. Again, my whole thing is it's not about ignoring what's going on in the world. But if you are called to do something about it, go do it. Otherwise, shh. Because you're bumming everybody else around you who you complain at, unless they're like you and just get off on the complaining, in which case, have fun with that group. I want no part of it. Yeah, James, I know. And you know what's weird? I can't hear it. Because of the way the system's set up, I can't hear the waves. I just know they're there. It's going to change soon. It's going to change soon. The technology of all of this, as dazzling as it already is going to be getting better soon. Yeah, it's okay, but I could listen to it all day if I wanted to. When I get off here, I could crank it up. I could have my whole studio filled with the sound of ocean waves for the rest of the day, not just this hour that we spend together each week. All right. Well, look, I got a little riled up there. Isn't that fun? So I get riled up about stuff, and I guess what I call, and I justify it by being public with it. So what I'm doing about it is trying to bring awareness, I guess. I do feel that one day I will be in a position of some sort of advocacy, a mouthpiece, something around this school system, along with 8 gazillion other people. 8 gazillion is a very favorite number of mine. It's kind of my generic big number. If you go back and watch all my shows, whenever I'm talking about the number of listeners we need, the number of whatever, 8 gazillion seems to come out. And I'm not sure, but I don't think gazillion is actually a real number. Now, bazillion, clearly. But I think gazillion, we're getting a little crazy. All right, anybody have any other questions? Because otherwise, we're going to wrap up. It's been 51 minutes of sheer joy here with Bob Doyle from The Secret, LOA Q&A Live, that we do here every Wednesday at noon Pacific. And it's one of my great joys in life, right up there with the Bob Doyle Show, which you can catch on Fridays at noon Pacific. And if you really are addicted to Bob Doyle broadcast, please join us on Tuesday evenings at 6:30 p.m. for Fun with Bob and Lynn, which was a thing long before any of this stuff I'm currently doing. And we did it last night. And it's on my timeline, on my personal page, and on the Fun with Bob and Lynn page. So much stuff. We're so out there. We're so out there. I love broadcasting. I think you should too. Well, James, thank you for being here. I appreciate you being here every Wednesday, like I said, and they're all archived, and you can check out all the replays if you want to, because there's information to be had there. But ladies and gentlemen, now I believe I will say farewell to each and every one of you. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate your participation, your questions. I wish you the very best, and let's see if we can all do a little bit better on playing with that technique this week, where we visualize and then do. Visualize something you know you're going to do, then do it, and let's retrain our brain to know that when we visualize, things happen. When we visualize, things happen. We've got to get better about doing that. Maybe we should form a little accountability club. I have an idea. Tell me if you're open to this, because this theme's kind of long. What I could do is I could set up a notification, like an automatic notification. Basically, you could click a link and say, I want to be notified. And I could automate this so that every day at a certain time, you get a notification, visualize what you're about to do. Just as a reminder. And you get a notification in your Facebook or on your desktop. If that sounds fun, tell me, and I'll create those links. It may be too much of a nuisance. Kathleen says yes. All right, so this time next week, I'll have links set up to do that, or I'll post them here. And then just friendly little reminders. Visualize what you're about to do. Visualize what you're about to do. Wouldn't that be something if it was just that simple? to retrain our brains. All this time, all these books, all these movies, all this stuff, and all we have to do is train our brains. That's a reality I'd like to create. That it can be easy. Easy peasy. Lemon squeezy. All right, everybody. I'm out of here like Steve Martin.